Alright, so hello everyone. I hope you're having a nice day. Okay, so today we're gonna do like basically the beginnings of GitHub. So basically to prepare yourself for the game jam, because we're gonna be working in teams, and when there's like 4 people working on the same project, sometimes like if someone is doing one change and the other person does a completely different change on the same files, like it will like have a bunch of problems, and you want to make sure everything is like coordinated and organized. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to use Git basically. So okay, so basically I'm going to start by showing you on GitHub how to like make a new organization, because basically it's one of the easiest way to like make an organized project together. If you do an organization, you could like create new repositories together, and like everything is compact and shared within the people that have the link. So so yeah, you go on your account and there's like a plus here. You go in your organization and you get the free one, and then you call it Workshop. CGD, because we're CGD, and my personal account, and your email, I guess, at gmail.com. This is the first step. Oh, well, now I think it's asking me to make a new account, but I'm just gonna skip this. Okay, so now we want to create a new repository, and we're gonna call it test repo. Call it whatever you want. Call it this is a test. You want to have it private, and you want to have a readme so that when you're finished your project, you could like add a description to the game that you've just made, and if like later on you want to show it to employers or something, or your friends, they could just read more on the project if you have time to add stuff to the readme. And here, so you could add collaborators, and I guess it's asking me my password. Here you could also, you could invite, like, add each other on GitHub, and you could invite whoever you want, invite it with their username. But since I'm doing this alone, I'll just pretend this is a one-person project. But I thought I created it. Didn't I create it? I did this like 30 minutes ago, and I didn't have that. I'll create a new repository. I'll create a new repository and initialize with readme. Add a gitignore. Actually, we'll do that later. I'll show you how to do it. So there you go. Okay, now it's normal. So now we want to clone this. And if you downloaded Git Extensions, when you open it, I'm just going to exit and reopen it. Git Extensions. So there's like 3 options. There's create new repository, which we've already done. There's open repository, which will be an option later on when we have one. And what we want is clone repository. And so you just paste the thing that you just cloned, like this thing. You copy this and you paste it. I don't know if I did it properly. Okay, yeah, I did. And then you want to save it somewhere on your computer where you won't get lost. I'll put it in the CGD. Okay, and yeah, that's it. and everything else should be okay. The branch is, the head branch is basically like the master, like the base branch. So then you finish that. And we'll create it. And there we go. So now we are good to go. So for Unity, what I like doing, well, I guess for many projects, you could just start working directly into the folder you just created. Did I call it test too? Yeah, okay. So if you had like a coding project, you could just like start adding files in directly in here. But since Unity has like pre-made files when you create new projects, what I like doing is I'll create a new Unity project and call it blah and save it at that location. Oh, I think I might have put it at the wrong place. Okay, so I'm gonna find my, where did I save? Blah, there you go. So everything in blah actually, whoa. These things, like project settings and assets, well, actually, you could copy everything. And I'll put it in the right folder. There you go. Skip. All right. And then you go back to Git extensions. There'll be like 1 million commits. But what we want to do is basically everything here except for assets. So select everything after assets with shift left click. All of this will be in gitignore because every time we're going to do a change to Unity or project, all of these will always be constantly changed throughout the project, and you don't want to commit them every single time because it's just like bullshit data that doesn't really matter. So then you right click on that and you do add file to gitignore. And I mean, it says updating, but if you just press ignore, it will just do it really quick. And then this is like our scene, like what we have here. And so we want to save that. And to save that, you have to select our gitignore that we just created and the scene and the metadata and yeah. There'll be a message. Sometimes there's messages, but it's like, oh, like the line endings or something. I'm not really sure if that's what it is, but just ignore that. It doesn't really do anything. And once you've staged it, basically these are like, up here is, it shows what has changed, and here it's what you want to keep and save. So you stage the ones that you want to keep. Let's say, for example, I wanted to ignore this one. I would have left it here, but since I want it, I'm going to stage it. And here, there's like a message box where you can write what changes you've done, like a small synopsis. So here I would be like, oh, created Unity project or base Unity project. And this should be like the first step of like doing a game with other people, is like creating a base Unity project so that everyone could easily just like, you know, clone it themselves, and they won't have to like recreate everything. They'll just have it accessible for them. So once you've finished your commit message, and for some reason there's like a bunch of words here, but once you've done that, you want to commit and push. And that will save it and send it to the online repository on GitHub for that, where everyone will have access to it. And if we go back on GitHub and refresh, as you can see, we'll have like our gitignore, which is all those like bullshit files that we didn't really care about, and assets, which is like an important file that we need. So yeah. So now, what was my next thing next point that I wanted to talk about? So, okay, so now, oh yeah, I just wanted to tell you a good piece of advice. If you're using like a software like, well, an engine like Unity or another one that gets constant updates, I'm using Unity as an example right now because I know that Unity has like updates every single day basically. When you start the game jam, you make sure that everyone in your team has the same version, and don't update it like mid game jam, because it'll throw off everyone else, because they'll have to update it as well, and it takes quite a bit to do that every time. So just like stick with like a Unity version that you all like, well, maybe like the most latest version of Unity, and just stick with it during the game jam, because it might tell you, oh, there's an update available, but it's not worth doing it. So next step I wanted to do is, so to make our lives easier when merging things. So merging is what happens when, like I said before, if one teammate has made a bunch of changes on their side and another one has made similar changes, but they're not exactly the same. When you merge them, meaning you, take those two teammates' changes and put them together, there might be conflicts, and without like a merge tool, sometimes they could be quite difficult to work with. I'll show you later why. Well, do you guys want me to show you right now why it's annoying to merge without a merge tool, or do you already know, or you already get the idea? Okay, I just have to, because now I think it might already be set up, so let me just check. Okay, so here I'll like get rid of this. Yeah, okay, I think that's good. So like here, these are the options for the merge tool. I'm just gonna delete them for now and just show what happens if I don't have a merge tool, what happens. So, okay, so what's the next step? Okay, I'm gonna try to recreate what would happen if there was two teammates working on the same project. So what you want to do is every time you want to add a feature to your game, you want to create a branch. And to create a branch, you go on commands, and there's an option here, create branch. And you want to create it from the master, at least when you start making the game. And you click that, and you name it whatever you want. I suggest that you put your name so that your other teammates know who's working on what, and then you could describe the feature that you're adding to the game, and then create that branch, and you press OK, and Wait a minute. Oh, what? For some reason, a branch was created before the master, which is kind of odd, but... Wait, let me try again. Let me try again real quick. A new branch. And then my name. Okay, well... I guess I'll have to deal with that. I don't know if everyone else is having like the same behavior as me, but for some reason all of the commits are back and I'm gonna have to git ignore them again. So I'll do that. How weird. Sometimes Git has some like weird behavior and you just have to kind of work around it sometimes. You just have to deal with it. Okay, now it's okay. So that was very odd, but we're at the point that we want. So at this point, let's say I want to add a new piece of code to the project. Where is my project? Here it is. I have like 2 windows. I'm gonna close this one. There you go. So on Unity, it's also recommended that you create a folder for your scripts. So this is where all your code will be. And here I'll create a C# script and I'll call it blah. And in here, I'll open it and I'll create an integer hello 1, because I'll have like I'll make 2 branches, so I'll have hello 1 and hello 2. So I did a change to the script. I added it and I added code into it. So in Git Extensions, still have 2 unstaged commits here. I think you need to save it first. That makes sense. So make sure to save your project. And hello. Am I on the right project? Oh, I am not. I am not on the right project. Because remember earlier I like copy pasted the contents of a folder. So I'm gonna go back on Unity Hub and I'm gonna add the correct one. I was working on blah. I want to work on test too. So wait, was it? I forgot the names I gave to these. What did I call it? Test 2. Yes. Invalid project path. This is always really annoying. Let's see. If I copy the assets and project settings, possibly. It looks like the assets aren't there, so that might be a reason why it's not working. Because assets and project settings are the 2 folders that are important, the most important. Library logs and packages and temp are all things that will be involved in gitignore, but project settings is basically, I think, all the settings on the editor. And assets is basically everything you add to the folders here. So both of those are important. So yeah, I forgot to... Yes?
So you always have to enable it in every commit.
Usually you just have to do it once. I don't know
Oh,
why
okay.
it asked me to do it again that one time. Usually
Yeah,
once you
that's
do
why I
it
realized
once,
it.
it'll like do it forever.
It's
But
probably because you made a new branch, I think. You had to
yeah,
publish
but
the branch.
yeah, you won't need to do that usually. I'll show if it does it later on. I'll try to fix it, but
Okay, no
from
problem.
now on, it shouldn't do it. Ask me ever again.
All right, yeah.
Because I tried doing this earlier and it only asked me to do it once.
The once? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, thank you.
I might have done something wrong,
Mhm.
but that's what I was saying. Like, you get sometimes there's like some weird behavior and you have to kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
like
It's the classic
yeah,
problems we always run into.
exactly. It's not something mysterious about Git. Um, so yeah, I forgot to copy assets, so now it should be able to work. There you go. Yeah, that's the reason. So I'm gonna open this and close this because this is the wrong Unity project. Okay, and here, so I have blah, and now it'll show me in the commits. You see, like, here we go again. Like, library stuff are all not in gitignore, so I'm gonna do it again. But maybe I'm doing something wrong. Anyways, what we want are these assets. So it says like, so I added a scene, but that's just because I copied it from the other file. Oh, here's the blah CS file that I just added, and it'll show you here what changes you've done. Hello 1, you know, the good stuff. And then you want to stage everything. And this is added blah script. So you commit and push. If you just commit, it will save it to your own computer, but it won't save it online on GitHub. So it will only, the changes that you've saved would only appear on your own computer and no one else would have access to them. So that's why there's two options, like in case you just want to commit a bunch only on your computer, and then maybe at the last commit, when you're ready to merge everything, maybe you could push it. But personally, I like pushing it every single time just so everyone has like an updated kind of history of what I've done. So okay, so I did this, and now I want to go back to master. And here's the option to like go to different branches, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. Here, yeah. So I guess these weren't registered or something for the gitignore, so I'll redo it, I guess. These were the same ones that appeared before on the other branch. I'm gonna call this weird 2. Okay, and now I'm gonna create a new branch. So this is like, let's say I'm working with a teammate called Bob, and he wants to create a new branch. So Bob, new feature. And Bob, on his side, he still has like what was on the master, so he didn't get what I did on my branch yet. So what Bob wants to do is he wants to create a folder with the exact same name as mine, which is okay. And he has a script with the exact same name as mine. And gonna close that real quick. Okay, and here is the script. So he makes a change, but it's almost the same as the one I did on my branch, but instead of hello 1, he put hello 2. So he commits that. Okay, this gitignore thing is like pissing me off. I'm gonna have to like Google why it's doing that, because never really had that problem before. So everything except the assets will be ignored. I guess we could keep the solution. It's not as if it's gonna affect our project anyway. And he stages his changes, and he says added blah but with hello 2. Oh, there's always like a dialogue that asks like, "Oh, are you sure it's okay? Oh, do you want to create a new node?" Like that, and you just say okay every time. It's not really it's not gonna like hurt the project anyway. All right, so now we have 2 branches that are almost exactly the same, except for the integer that has different names. Do you guys have like any questions or anything? Except for the gitignore, because I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, Tiffany?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this happening again?
I can hear you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good on my side. It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Is there a dark theme for Git extensions?
Oh, is there a dark theme? I think so, actually. Settings, maybe here? Oh. Oh, here is also a place where you could put Diff Merge. I don't know. There probably is, you could Google it.
Alright, so yeah.
But right now you don't have the merge tool, right, Rose? You don't have the merge tool.
No, now it's
Right,
disabled.
okay,
So
okay.
if you see, go on settings here.
Right.
It's on Git config. Merge tool has nothing right now. So I'm gonna show.
So it's not gonna help you merge? Okay.
Well, it's gonna help, but it's not very obvious, and I'm gonna show you why right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back to my Rose branch, and these things. These are so annoying. Once I merge these, and I'm gonna try doing another branch, and if I still get those, I definitely missed something. So I'm gonna have to Google it. But, weird 3. Is anyone else getting that problem? Because
I'll be honest, I haven't succeeded in downloading GitHub extensions.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask you after how
yeah.
to install it. I haven't been able to install it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm just following along.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we're back on branch rows, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're rebased to the master, like because everything is branched off to the master. I guess I could show you a picture. Okay. The master basically is the base of like our game, and people will during its production will branch off and do a bunch of changes here. But maybe some people will branch off and then will commit back to the master. We'll update it. But this is not up to date with here. Like the things that this has comes from this point, but the master has been changed since this point here. And what you want to do is rebase. Actually, you want to. I think the rebase is what we're looking for. So we want basically to update this back to here. Get the most up-to-date version of master. So to do that, there's an arrow here, and you'll do actually you go rebase and commands, and there's an option here, rebase, and rebase on master. And you just click rebase, and there might be some conflicts, but these are just the weird stuff that I think you could just kind of skip that. And yeah, so now I have the most recent master, and the only changes I did on master was those weird git ignores, so there's no problem there. Okay, now I want to merge it back to master. So the first step is rebase, and then the next step is merge. So to merge, you have to go on the branch that you want to you have to go on the master branch, and there's a command here, merge branches, and you choose the branch that you want to merge into master, and in this case it's new branch rows. You'll notice that there's two versions of the same branch but with different names, so there's new branch rows and origin new branch rows. So new branch rows here is the one I have on my computer, and origin new branch rows is the one that I think is on GitHub. So as long as the one on GitHub and the one on your own computer is exactly the same, either one is okay to choose from. Which is why, like I said before, I prefer to commit every single time when I make changes. I just noticed something. These things will never go away. This is so annoying. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to merging. So
I've actually encountered the same problem the past week.
Yeah.
Where it gave me all these files, and I can't get rid of them whenever we push something.
it's weird because I did a Git I did a like practice project earlier, and like it happened maybe one time, and then
Yeah, the thing is, even if you put a git ignore, sometimes you get all these binary files.
yeah, it's really.
Takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while
There
to
must
put
be
it in.
a way of like sending it so that and anything you could like choose the folder specifically that you want to
You put the
ignore.
Unity git ignore, right? Or the C# one?
Um, I did the Unity one.
The Unity one. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Hmm. Yeah, I
I'm
still
not.
have the same problem with the
Yeah.
Unity one.
I'm not like a pro, so I mean, I'm sorry, but.
Yeah, it's okay. You're doing a good job. Like, you're doing a good job.
Basically, just the things that you want to save is assets. Everything that's in assets folder, and everything that is project settings. Everything else, you gotta ignore it because it's not gonna affect your project in any way whatsoever. So, okay, so merge branch, new branch rows into master, and you press merge, and it'll say there's conflicts for some reason, which is probably because of the weird git ignore thingies again. And it's told me, oh, you don't have a merge tool, but like I'm pretty sure it's just a git ignore, so I'm just gonna ignore any problems there is. Oh, actually, you could see what happens when there's conflicts and you don't have a git a merge tool. You'll have like head with a bunch of arrows and then a bunch of code or information that you had, and then another set of arrows with the branch name that you're trying to merge with. This is a very, very, very bad representation of like I can't really show you what the conflicts was because I don't even know what was there before, which is why I want to show you with the actual code here. But for now I'm just gonna ignore this because it's not actually directly affecting. It's not my code that I was like trying to focus on. Okay, so despite the fact that there was like some weird merge conflicts with the git ignore, as you can see, it actually merged into master and it like went back to the like it did like a kind of loop back into the main branch, which is what we want. And so now on master, if I open our C# code, it'll have blah hello 1, which was what we did on the new branch rows branch. I should have named them something better. Nonetheless, now if I go back here, this is pissing me off. Sometimes you're angry and the commit messages that you do are just you smashing your head on the keyboard. That is normal. So now I'm gonna go back to Bob new feature, and technically here on my code will be int hello2, which is correct. It's saved what we had before, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I did before. And I'm really sorry about this thing. I don't know why it's doing this. It's smashing your head on the keyboard because you're annoyed.
It's okay, Rose. You're doing great. Don't worry. Yeah.
All right. Now I want to merge into master again, but the hellos on these codes are not the same, so there's gonna have a conflict in that. So if I try, let's say I go back on master, and then I try merging. Well, actually, if you remember well, the first thing you have to do is actually rebase. So you rebase on master, you choose the correct file, well, not file, branch, and you do that. And now, now it makes sense why there's conflict, is because now master has the hello 1 integer. So now I want to solve conflicts, but it will tell me there's no merge tool configured. So if you go on the code, this is the example I wanted to show. So here you'll see there's gonna have head, which is head is like the master. This is what the code is in the master. It's hello 1, and this one is in the current branch. Bob, whatever, I forgot the name. So, and at this stage you're gonna have to like communicate with your team, and you're gonna be like, oh, so I did this change in my code that does the same thing as yours but in a different way, or you have to kind of talk to each other and decide what code you want to choose. And in this case, maybe Bob's code is better, hello 2 is better, so you decide to delete hello 1 and keep hello 2. And then you save that. In certain cases as well, maybe you would want to keep both of them, because maybe the code is not the same at all and you want to keep both features. But sometimes you have to delete one and choose the other. And once I've chosen which one I want, well, I think this one is just the gitignore one. So this is the one I wanted to solve conflicts with. Okay, and then you skip. Once you're done merging them, you skip, because there's no other way of telling the Git extensions that you've finished solving the conflicts. This one I have to skip, unfortunately. And there you go. Now, master. Oh no, this is the rebase. So now Bob new feature has all the changes that was from master. And well, actually, it doesn't have the changes I have on master, because I actually changed it from hello 1 to hello 2. Or not. Oh my god, I think I did something wrong. This is why it's better with a merge tool. If you notice right here, is because I skipped it and now I went back to hello 1, which is, I probably did something wrong again. So another reason why to do merge tool is that you wouldn't have this problem. It would actually fix it like appropriately. But now, I guess you guys get the idea of why having a merge tool is better. So I'm gonna go back to master. And I'm going to merge Bob new feature. because maybe Bob's finished doing what he was supposed to do. Wait, did I? I thought I changed to master. I guess I didn't. Okay. Command, merge branches. Bob, new feature. There you go. Oh, I think it did it. And then you push. So I just want to explain real quick the meaning of these tags. So the red tag is what is on your local computer. And when there's a green tag, it means that you've saved it onto GitHub. So for now, it actually, master won't have the Bob new feature changes I did because I didn't push it onto the GitHub. It doesn't have a green tag. Like master doesn't have a green tag. Oh, it does. Never mind. Well, okay. It does have a green tag, but that's what the tags mean, is if there's just a red tag and no green tag next to it, is because you didn't push it using this arrow onto GitHub Online. Okay, so alright, so now I'm going to add our Diff Merge tool, Diff Merge. So like I said before, you go on Tools, Settings, and then Config, and you choose Diff Merge. If you have other programs that you prefer, there's a bunch of options, but Diff Merge is pretty good. And make sure that you have the right path for the executable of Diff Merge. It should do it automatically, but if it didn't do it properly, like make sure to browse and choose the right one. And okay, that seems everything else is okay. Click apply. Okay. And I'm gonna do 2 new branches and show the difference of how it's a lot easier with Diff Merge. So create a branch. I'll call it rows 2. And I'll create a branch. I'll call it Bob 2. Okay, and on Bob 2, he decides to do Boolean git ignore is annoying. And go back to Git Extensions. There's like a commit. Oh, there's a change in blah.cs. You stage it. Added Boolean. Commit and push. I'll do a bunch of pop-up messages that you just skip through. And there you go, we committed. And there was no git ignore this time, which is like, yippee. I'm happy for once. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to rows 2. And here I'm gonna do bool git ignore isn't annoying. This person is crazy. So same thing, same process. Added Boolean. You push and goes through the same exact steps as before. Okay, and now we have 2 branches with 2 different things in them in the same file. So now I want to, let's say Rose decides to merge into master first. You go on, no, you change branch, You always have to do it on the branch that you want to merge into. So now I'm on master. I go commands, merge branches. I choose rows 2. I merge. There you go. So now master doesn't have a green tag if you've just noticed. So that means it didn't save onto GitHub, and you have to push to have it on GitHub with the push arrow, like that. Usually it's easier if you just select force with lease every single time, because if you don't, it might have a pop-up. I don't think it's good to do it this time, but sometimes they'll like, oh, you like forgot to rebase, or oh, you have to like force with lease. So usually it's just to avoid that pop-up, you could just select force with lease, and Git extension won't annoy you about rebasing and stuff. And there you go, like you've just noticed, now we have a green tag. And on GitHub, we have, you could look at the history of the commits. There you go. And there you go, that I added the boolean. And so now Bob wants to also merge into master. So he does the same process. Bob merges into current branch master. Uh-oh, now there's a conflict. Yes, you want to solve them now. Okay, and now there's a different dialog box that we had before. And that's because we have our mighty merge tool. So you can now use, you could start merge tool, and it will automatically open Diff Merge for you. And this is like the most useful thing in the world. So as you can see on the left, this is important. On the left, it's what you have on the master, or the branch that you're trying to merge onto. And on the right is the branch that you, like, I guess the most updated branch. So this is Bob 2, and this is master. Bob 2, master. So now at this point, you saw me click like the little yellow diamond thing. That will just jump to the merge conflict. And at this point, you just use these 2 arrows to choose which one that you would want. And personally, I think gitignore is annoying, even if I did a typo. So I am going to choose Bob 2's change. And then you save this. And then you could just exit. And then it will show pop-up, all merge conflicts are resolved. So now I could commit. And I'll say yes, because why not? And for some reason it added like a weird file. I guess I'll keep it, and it might be important, but probably not really. This is the one I really care about, is the blah.cs. And here you could write show merged with master, and you could like maybe explain in detail changed. I'll just copy this, changed gitignore isn't annoying to gitignore is annoying. Like that. Just make a message that makes sense. Sometimes it's nonsense when you're angry and you just like smash your head. but sometimes it's important to explain what you've done. And you commit and push, like we did before, and now we'll have the desired code, and you'll see the loop like we had before, and everything is working. So if I go on the code, if I say yes to all, this is just a dialog that says, oh, there were changes, do you want to reload? And I want to say yes. So here it will say gitignore is annoying, or annoting. So there you go. That's why Diff Merge is like your best friend when it comes to working in projects with other people. All right. What else was I gonna talk about? If you guys have questions, this is a good time to ask them.
Rose,
Yes.
could you repeat what does rebase do?
Okay. So Rebase, basically, if you have, I guess it was easier to show on the sketch. So I'm just gonna start from scratch. So this is our master branch. I'll do like a small line. So if we're at the beginning of a project, this is our most updated version of the project on master. M for master. At this point, teammate number 1 branches off from it. T1. And does a bunch of changes. These dots are like commits, like different changes that he's done over time. And maybe at this point someone else did a branch and did his own changes. So this is T2. And T2 merges into master. So he does a loop. Like that. I guess I could make it like that. So now, master, the most updated version of master isn't this, it's this. Make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. So, but the problem here is that T1 still has the master's stuff from, this was like 2 days ago. Okay?
Yep.
So he still has this stuff, and he doesn't have the changes that T2 did.
Right.
So basically, a rebase is a way for T1 to update the most current
Stuff he
version
has
of
from
master.
before? Okay.
So
It's his way to update like things like the stuff from master he had before? Is that what it is?
it's basically to update like there might have been a bunch of changes here, and he wants to update his current branch from the master branch. So basically, visually, like a rebase would look like this. Like this would go away, and his branch would go back here. Like
Okay,
that.
so his branch, that's his branch now. Okay.
Yeah, that's his like new branch.
See. I
That's
see.
how it looks
Okay,
like.
it's clear.
Yeah.
It's
So
clear. Thank you.
that's what it is. I could show you a little bit more about a good way to rebase so it's safe, because what could be annoying is that if you did like a bunch of changes like this, like a bunch of commits, on Git Extensions, if you rebase like this directly and you ignore that you did a bunch of changes, it's gonna like do a bunch of dialogues for every single commit. Oh, do you want to? Are you sure you want to rebase? It'll do it for this. Oh, are you sure you want to rebase? It'll do it for that. It'll do it for every single commit that you've done, which is kind of annoying. So what some people do is they'll do something called a squash. It's not necessary for you to do this. Like I said, it's just like to make it less annoying. But basically a squash, it just takes all of the commits that you've done and puts it into one. It's as simple as that. And so I guess I could show you how to do that. So Git extensions. I'll make a new branch. Commands, create branch. And I'll call it squash branch. Okay. And here, let's say I do a bunch of changes. I'll do like, I'll just add a bunch of integers or something. So commit, stage. Have you guys noticed I don't get random files anymore? So eventually the git ignore things goes away. So you just write whatever you want. Okay, takes a little while to commit every time, but whatever. And then I'll add another int. I'll just do 2 because I don't want to waste too much time on this. So I stage that, and then blah blah blah. Push. Okay. So now, like, there's 2, I did 2 commits, and to squash, basically all you have to do is, you know what, I'm actually going to show, like, rebasing at the same time. So, let's say someone added something to master, so I'm also going to add something to master. Okay. Just pretend like someone like merged this into master, and like now you don't have the most updated version. So does it get changed? Doesn't matter what you write. Okay. So now my squash branch is kind of out of date. You'll actually see it visually. Like the line here is like behind this dot. So what you do is squash branch. Go to the branch that you want to rebase, and you do commands, rebase. You choose master. And to squash, you do interactive rebase and auto squash. And you click rebase, and it'll show a pop-up, and basically this dialog just tells you, asks you which commit you want to choose. Because if you're squashing it, you just want one commit. So the order doesn't matter. You just pick one commit. So I'll just choose the first one, and everything else, there might be like tens of dozens of them. Everything else just replace pick with S, and like you'll see S stands for squash. So it'll just melt, like it'll combine all of the other commits into the first one. And it doesn't really matter which one you choose. So make sure to save when you finish putting S everywhere. And this other dialog is just telling you to choose which commit message you want. So, I mean, you could delete everything here. Everything in this dialog doesn't matter. you just write the message that you want. So this is a squashed branch. And then you save it. Make sure to save it. And you press OK. And there you go. Now it's updated to the latest master. And if I go on my Visual Studio and reload, now I have the change I added to master. Plus, well, this was the stuff I added on the branch itself, but this is the stuff that was on master. So now you have everything updated, and it should be a piece of cake to merge it, because all merging will do is add the extra integers that I have here, and there shouldn't be any like merge conflicts. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. Another, I guess, last word of advice is when you make projects on Unity or any other engine and you're in a team, make sure to, like, whenever someone wants to add a new feature, make sure to add a new scene for every single feature. Don't work on the same scenes, because you'll get merge conflicts everywhere if you do that. So every time you make a new change in your game, just add a new scene with your name and work on that scene, and don't mess with other people's scenes. So is there any questions?
You answered mine. Thank you so much. It was really clear.
All right.
I don't have other questions for now.
I think that's about it. There's other tools for other than Git extensions that you could use. I just like Git extensions because I've used it the most, but there's other things like Git Kraken, or you could use Git Desktop, which I think you could also use. And for Diff Merge tools, merge tools in general, you could use other ones as well. I used to use Git Bash, which is basically just a command line, like this. But this is just like, I felt like I was just doing things blindly, like merging and stuff. I would just kind of hope that nothing like crashed and burned, which is why I don't really recommend using this. Unless you know like Git commands by heart and know everything about Git. But I mean, not that many people in the world know that, so it's better to use like something with the UI. Git Kraken is pretty good. It's nice and pretty, and yeah. I think that's it.
I remember in the game jam, most of the people use Git extension. What's the main difference between Git Kraken and Git extension?
I don't think there's any difference. It's just like the UI that looks prettier, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's why I prefer it as well, because it has a tree.
I guess I used to have Git Kraken. I like the UI for Git Kraken more. It's more sleek, and it makes like the especially these might make more sense. You could change your view, by the way. So this shows all the branches. Maybe a better way is to go on show current branch only. It just looks more simple and maybe makes more sense. But yeah, Git Kraken, I think, just looks more sleek in terms of visuals, but there's no difference. Really.
True. Alright. By the way, is there because I know in GitHub you can put a student version, and pretty much you get the pro. Can you put it here as well in the Git extension? Do you know about that?
Wait, for what?
Because I know there's a student version for GitHub, and you You get the pro version, even in Gear Kraken, you get the pro version.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
Yeah, you could.
that's-
I had a student. You could get like a student access for like Git Kraken, not pro version. Like there's a version for students that I think you could use.
Oh, okay.
I just I don't remember how to get it. You'll have to like
All
kind
right.
of scour
Yeah.
Google for that.
Thank you.
Maybe like. So here I'm still getting the git ignore bullshit again. So maybe after this later I'll check like how to fix this and I'll just add it. I'm gonna like post this on the YouTube channel and maybe I'll just add, oh, this is how to do the git ignore so you don't have all these messages every single time. Yeah, I might do that later today. But for now I don't really want to like spend too much time on that because it's already 7:17 and we should be doing our next workshop. Hi, I just wanted to show you a quick tool that I forgot to mention that could be useful for you guys. So this tool, let's say you have like 2 branches and you want to just fetch like one specific commit from another branch. What you could do is, let's say I was on master and I wanted to fetch like a change I did in a squash branch or something. What you can do is go on show all branches, first of all, so you could see all of the branches very easily. And here you could right click on it and you could do cherry pick commit, and it will basically just pick the commit that this box is, and then you have easy access to it and you could pick and choose like what you wanted in master from this branch specifically. That's it. So I also found the reason why the git ignore wasn't working. And so if you go in your project file, so test2, and you look at the git ignore file on Notepad, like you just double click it, so you'll see like there's all of the folders that it's ignoring, but like for library, for example, like it's like a bunch of numbers, and like every time I do a change, like I think it adds new numbers to it and like adds a bunch of like metadata, which is always generated every single time that I like do a change in Unity or something. So if you want to ignore everything, basically just add like the folders that you don't care about. So library, logs, object, packages. So the only ones that you want to keep and not ignore is assets and project settings. Everything else, you add them to git ignore. And so if I, like, right here in my commit, like, you could see the library, all the library things are here. And if I simply add libraries to git ignore, and, well, I guess all the other folders that I don't care about, and save this, and then close this, you'll see that it will completely ignore all of the unnecessary files that we don't care about. And that's how you fix the git ignore. And I wish I knew this before doing the tutorial, but now you know. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope you learned something and you'll be a little bit more prepared for the game jam. And it won't be as confusing. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to our next workshop now.
Yeah.
Let's go. We have the other one to do.